Yay! A recruiter has found your profile on LinkedIn and they're starting to scroll down. Now, there's one section that can get them to stop and click. But if you don't know what that is, you're missing out on an opportunity. So today we're going to talk about that section, that featured section. You know, when you are a mid-career professional and you're applying for jobs, there's a lot of people that likely can do that job. And the recruiter is looking at these resumes and saying, yeah, they all look like they're sort of the same. And oftentimes they'll go to the LinkedIn profile to check the person out and see what other information they can get. Now, you're sort of tied with everybody else at that point, but there's a section that can show proof, that has the receipts, because a lot of people have bullet points that talk about their accomplishments, but in the featured section, you can actually show proof of that. And that is why it's so important to have one, because this is the section where you show your authority. It's not just you're an expert and you call yourself an expert, it's that you actually have all the receipts to claim that you can do this and get others to actually see that you can do this. That is why this featured section is so powerful and why I can't believe people don't use it. It's a goldmine there if you use it strategically. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, I know some of you have a real issue with bragging on your resume and on your LinkedIn profile. I talk to you all, and for some reason you think that putting information in a featured section makes you feel uncomfortable because you feel like it's really salesy. Now, I want you to think about this because your mind shift needs to change. It's not about being salesy or bragging. What it is conveying information about who you are, what you do. You actually do a disservice to all of those employers you're interested in when you don't give them all the information to assess whether you are a good fit for the role. That's not bragging. That's actually keeping information from them. And they want to see it. So stop thinking that a featured section is bragging. Think of it as a tool to help others know exactly what you are capable of. Now we're going to talk about how to effectively use a featured section. And the first thing before you even get started is to think about your areas of authority. What are the 3 to 5 themes that you want to be known for? That is what you're going to concentrate on in this featured section. So maybe it's AI, maybe it is team scaling, maybe it is change management. Whatever is appropriate for you and the jobs that you want, those are going to be your areas that you're going to concentrate on for content for your featured area. What you want to do is to have anybody that looks at your profile quickly be able to see visually that you have expertise, knowledge, skills in these areas. You don't want to have a bunch of random stuff in there where the person is going, I'm really confused. What is this person about? Make it very clear. If you enjoy this content, I always appreciate hitting that like button and go ahead and subscribe to my channel. It really helps. Next, we're going to talk about what to put in this featured section. You really want to have cornerstone proof that you can do this job. And so what's really important in this area is not just to show accomplishments. You can put that in experience section or an about section, but you want to show how you've got those results. So an example could be a case study. You could put that in a document post. And what you could do is show your turnaround, like your 90-day turnaround that you were able to accomplish. Having both the what you did and the how you did is very, very powerful. Now, for some of you, you're going to have NDAs and you're like, I can't put any of that stuff in there. Well, maybe you can do a redacted version or a process flow. You can show the how without showing the who part of it. As well as you can add a lot of different things in this area. So they allow you to put in things like documents, you can put in images, you can put in links, you can feature posts that you've done, you can put in articles, and if you're a premium member, you can also pull in different parts of your profile to feature in this section. For some of you, you're probably going, I don't even know where this featured is. You go into your profile, and there will be add sections, and in there you can find featured, and that's where you would add that actually to your particular profile. Think of your featured section as a way to show original data of what you actually do. What you want is to have everything that's in there to say, wow, this person really has accomplished a lot. I can see how they work, and boy, we need to really talk to them. So let's talk about the algorithm and SEO, because that is where some of the magic of the featured section really is. Now, you get a title and you get a description. LinkedIn actually looks at those pieces of information, and that helps them discover you in a search. So you want to think strategically about what you want to put in the title as well as the description. And you get about 300 characters for that description. Not a lot, but you can put in a lot of good information. So think about your title as adding some of the keywords that would be important for the jobs that you're looking for. As well as you want to be able to explain in not too many words, but enough to show not just your accomplishment, but a little bit of the why. So you don't want to just put my turnaround project. That's not helpful. Okay. You want to put my turnaround project that resulted in $2 million of new revenue and 10 new clients. So you want to be descriptive about it so that people can see that, the algorithm sees that, and it just helps you get discovered. Let's now talk about visual aesthetic. That's all about the image. So it's really important that this stands out. And so you want to think about what kind of visuals you want to have associated with your featured section. Now, you can put thumbnails in, and that's a really important thing to think about ahead of time. What kind of visual consistency do you want to have there? I think that's really helpful, and it looks very professional. Now, if you're going to add thumbnails, a great place to do that, or to develop them, is Canva. You can use the free version, and then you can upload those thumbnails to explain or visually show what the content looks like. The other thing just to be aware of, sometimes it can be hard to get everything to look in line. That's where it can be really helpful to use thumbnails that are of the same size. That way that area looks the same. And you may want to have to adjust your descriptions. The longer the description, the smaller the thumbnail gets. So just for visual consistency, you will want to have things as close as possible to being the same size so that it looks really nice when someone looks at it. Now, there is a difference between how it shows on the desktop version and the mobile version. And this is why it's really important that you put on your featured section and have first what is going to be the most important for your viewer, your reader. And because they will have to scroll down and see more. And so lots of people won't do that. So you'll want to have what you think is going to be the biggest attention grabbers right at the top. It does order things from newest to oldest. So if you need to move things around, think about that because you can move, but it would just default is newest to oldest. So think about that as you're putting it together. Lastly, we're going to talk about maintenance. And it's really important that you think about what are the most important pieces of information, and you're auditing that all the time. I think it's good to audit your profile every quarter anyway, and this you can just put right into that time frame and look at that section. Do you have anything new that would be important to add here? Anything that is not relevant now to the goals that you have for a new job? Take those out. This is a time to make sure whatever you have is current. You also need to think about the most important examples. You can have up to 400 things in this featured section, but no one's going to go through 400. I say limit it to, 5. That way you get the best information, the ones that are most current for your audience. And you pack a punch when somebody looks at your featured section and they think, oh my, this is awesome. I need to know more about what this person has been up to. So this is your call to action. Now, for many of you, you don't even know about a featured section. So now is the time to think about what you would want to put in there because it will align with your themes that you want to convey. For some of you, you have a featured section, but let's be honest, you haven't looked at it forever. Now is the time to go back and look at what you have in there and what you can update that section with. This section is important because it shows that what you've said in all the other parts of your profile or even your resume actually is true. If you need some help with your LinkedIn profile, I have a service where we go over your LinkedIn strategy and we go over the featured section. So if you're interested, go ahead and look in the description box for more information.